Greetings, YouTube. I'm like an earthquake. I have many faults. And one of those faults is that sometimes, instead of going to bed, I let my insomnia get the best of me. And I check the Line app to respond to more messages so I don't have to respond to as many when I wake up, as it is, of course, a teaching evening. But here's the deal. I've been sent a ton of screenshots and videos about Medusa since the recent, as in the last, 48 hours update. Now, hopefully, her description is just a visual bug because the people who use her every day, and I do not. So I really lean on the people. Even though I have her at rank 4 Awakened, pretty high SIG, I just don't use her. But quite a few people do. So I lean on them to say, hey, have you noticed any differences with her overall playing style? And for the most part, I haven't received too much feedback on that end. That's a problem, except for this, which is a tremendous problem for a variety of reasons, which we will outline past midnight, or if you're waking up across the pond and it's like 5 a.m., good morning. Hope the biscuits and tea are good. I'm only saying that because that's what I see in movies. I have no idea if anybody actually eats that for breakfast or not. No clue whatsoever. Sorry for the stereotype. But basically, Killmonger gaining armor after Medusa armor shatter is the topic of the forum post and the discussion on this video before I try to knock myself out and actually fall asleep. So this user types the following. A new thing after the update. Killmonger did not gain armor or reverberation after an armor shatter, which made her a great counter against Killmonger. Now, after armor shatter, he gains armor, and even worse, you cannot break the armor till armor shatter ends. Is this intended? Rake Young adds the following. Personally, I've never applied armor shatter to Killmonger or Iron Man Infinity War, I believe that's supposed to say, for that same reason. Medusa can no longer apply armor break debuffs once armor shatter is up. I believe the armor shatter text reads that the opponent can't generate armor buffs, and since the armor on Killmonger and Iron Man Infinity War is passive, they are still able to generate them even with armor shatter. This is quickly confirmed, if I'm wrong I'd appreciate to be corrected, by Kabam Ziblet, who says, hey there, which by the way, when somebody says, hey there, it sounds like they're flirting with you, which just makes for a very awkward start to a sentence, but I digress. As was mentioned, armor shattered only prevents armor buffs, but Killmonger's vibranium armor is a passive effect. Now, this is a one-sentence reply that's supposed to be swept under the rug, but it is not a simple reply at all, given the effects and the growing trend of another shady response from Kabam. Now, why is that shady, do you ask? Why is Prof being too critical? Why is he not just being more positive? Why is negative Nancy out before bed? Well, passive versus active is one of the quickest ways for Kabam to justify changes in champions. It is a way to essentially nerf a certain purpose of Medusa without taking responsibility. Unlike the She-Hulk rank down ticket fiasco, which is currently going on, and that's a whole separate issue in terms of exploits that people are doing with that. For this, you have the justification that it's a passive effect. Not to mention that suddenly Medusa has some significant changes in the description of her abilities in her bio. So as you can imagine, this seemingly innocent, probably in his eyes, justification was quickly ripped to shreds to the point that the forum post got a little crazy. If Armor Shatter wasn't supposed to remove it fully, then this should have been changed ages ago, since she's been able to do this for quite some time. Just now changing it has really put me down on fighting Killmonger, as she was a good option for me personally. And then we've got, some solid tips. Best to not Armor Shatter Killmonger. All you need is an armor break debuff to prevent his vibranium armor. But then it continues. The issue that is that in Killmonger's abilities, it is stated that his passive vibranium armor is disabled if he is suffering from an armor break effect. Seeing as armor break immunity nodes and abilities also prevent armor shattered, it stands to reason that armor shattered is just a more specific, powerful armor break, which means armor shattered should also prevent Killmonger vibranium armor, which it had been prior to the current update. Keep in mind, Killmonger's been in the game since, February of 2018. Medusa's been in the game longer than that. So part of the problem with these changes, it's that the champion has been used for certain positions for so long and certain details that to just suddenly change their effectiveness is not only shady, but really not in good faith. And several people in this thread pointed that out with some, pretty choice words. They will just tell you that the note is wrong and the text is misleading. It should read that the defender is immune to armor break effects and armor shattered as well. And then it just continues. The reason about what is written is in abilities, but for the node, there's something wrong if armor shatter doesn't work unless the text is misleading, which of course text misleading is quite a theme of so many of these videos in the past week. Calling nonsense on that one. I ran that Killmonger path in map 6 for a while, and she was shutting down that Killmonger armor completely with the armor shatter. There was no indication of the passive armor coming back up. But now, all of a sudden, the armor comes up, even with armor shatter still on. Unbelievable, you guys. And that's pretty well summed up point by this user. It's frustrating, right? It's frustrating to think that you have a champion that counters certain nodes and certain defenders, and has been for months, if not maybe over a year, closer to a year and a half. And suddenly you're told this entire time that it's a passive feedback. The passive versus active is such a way for Kabam to, like I said, nerf abilities of champs without having to give rank down tickets or even defend it, that it just turns people off. And I think what Kabam fails to realize sometimes is that because there isn't a steady stream of rank down tickets like there is for She-Hulk right now, every time somebody like Medusa loses effectiveness and you can't rank her down, I'm not saying she's bad now, I'm not saying she's trash, she's still really good, but when that happens and there's no apology or even acknowledgement of the issue, there's no responsibility for this kind of thing, the player base just gets fed up. And the more fed up the player base gets, the more likely they are to delete the app, to retire, to quit the game, to sell their account, whatever you want to call it. And after the pattern of behavior that happens, there are just a lot of people who are fed up. And maybe this game and the community are still strong enough to survive. Lord knows there have been a lot of people who've retired, and it's still going maybe stronger than ever. Who knows? But this is just the case where the active versus passive, it's similar to things like, we just needed to change the description of the champion abilities. It's not that they're not performing well, or there's a bug or a nerf. We had a typo, stuff like that. That kind of thing is just shady. It's shady, it's wrong, it's misleading, and I believe it is not in good faith. And coming from a company that justifies certain people can't join certain things because of fact errors, their facts keep changing when their bottom line changes. And that, to me, is the most objective way to point out. So what do you think of the Medusa issues? And do you buy the passive explanation from Kabam in this forum post, which I will pin in the comment section before I try to go to bed? Comment below and let me know. And as always, thank you for watching and supporting my Marvel Contest of Champions YouTube channel, even sending me forum posts to discuss at midnight on a work night. Because, again, I got faults. I'm like an earthquake. I just keep putting out videos and hopefully get 3 to 5 hours of sleep.